About 7 years ago, I came up with a pretty decent idea about how to break into tech and potentially even skip steps. I'm all about skipping steps. I had a traditional path laid out for me where it's 2 years tech support, 2 years help desk, then you're in systems administration, then you move on into engineering or developer or whatever. But I had this idea about skipping ahead and skipping steps and giving yourself kind of this high value with about 6 or less months worth of actual training and work. If you can show up to interviews, get interviews, and then, show them that, hey, you actually do know what you're talking about. So that's what I wanted to cover today. Okay, here is my idea for kind of a non-traditional route into tech. Now, I did not take this path, but it looks solid and it seems very valuable. So there's 2 resources you're going to use, and I'm not endorsed by either of them. I'm not affiliated with either of them. But when I got my first data engineering job, which, like I have mentioned in other videos, but you may not know, is not really a data engineering job. It was kind of like DBA meets cloud engineer meets customer service, right? It was kind of a mixture of all those things. Mongo University and Redis University are, as far as I remember, free or very cheap. And especially the MongoDB certifications are pretty cheap. I think it's like $100 for the admin and the developer level certifications. Here's what I would do, especially if I wanted to become a developer, because a lot of development programs and things like that don't really touch on the data layer itself, right? That middle, I guess, layer where the connections to the database happen, and then dealing with the database itself. A lot of this is real intense, development heavy work that you would be bringing to the table, kind of like an outside way in. And I'm sure other people have thought of this. I would even throw Elasticsearch in there, but that's a little bit more of a pricey approach. What I would do if I wanted to just jump into tech, start getting these chances, maybe even start getting these light developer roles, I would just live in MongoDB University at first and just learn everything I could. I would ignore the Java paths that they offer, because a lot of the guys coming out of university are real heavily focused into Java. So it's like, too much competition. I would definitely pick the Python and the Node, and I might pick both because you never know what application style you're going to be working with. I would just go through, I would get to the point where I could pass those entry-level Mongo admin or Mongo DBA and the Mongo developer certifications. Then I'd jump over to Redis. I'd go through all their stuff. If they're offering a certification now, I'd take that one. I think if they ever did, it was pretty hard. I would definitely do that. And if you have the time and or the money, because it's kind of expensive to go through the official training, jump in and learn about Elasticsearch too, because that's just going to open so many doors for you. And you're going to have skills that are just not well known, not in demand. If someone's like, hey, go learn a database, the first thing they think about is SQL. Well, there's plenty of people who know SQL. MongoDB is in real high use, and it just seems to be growing. The company seems to be doing good. Redis, I think, is kind of breaking out and doing its own thing. I'm not sure the state of Elasticsearch these days, but again, I got a job based on my willingness to learn Elasticsearch. Now, they actually sent me to school. So I went to Elastic little certified engineer course, which is a week long, and I think it's pretty pricey. And I think the certification is pretty pricey. I never actually sat for the certification. My job kind of shifted. But so that would be kind of an icing on the cake bonus thing you could potentially do. And knowing about Elasticsearch is going to teach you about Java. So you're going to learn all about heap and the JVM and how it eats up resources, and how to use memory to work with Java applications. So there's use there. As a sysadmin and as a developer, you're going to run into Java applications. They're all over the place. But trying to be a strict Java developer, maybe not. There's just a lot of competition in that space coming from guys going to MIT and what have you. But if you're learning MongoDB, you're learning Redis, how esoteric is that, right? you could come and just get interviews and get people to, if you can get an interview, I fully believe you can get the job. Once you get the interview, they're like, yeah, we're willing to hire this guy, and it's up to you to mess it up or run with it, right? You get in there, you get the interview, and you know what you're doing, and you know if you know what you're doing, then you go for the job, and once you're on the job, there's going to be a huge learning curve. You're not going to come in knowing what to do on day one, but I think those two paths are just an exceptional kind of off the wall way to potentially break into a tech career. And maybe you won't be the highest paid because people aren't going to know your track record, or you're not going to have a lot of experience or a lot of history. But I do think, if nothing else, you're going to learn a lot, and it's going to help you in the future. But I think that you could legitimately get interviews and get in front of people with those certifications, especially, or if you're just like, hey, look, half of finding a job is the job itself, right? I mean, you gotta, it's like dating, it's like starting a business, it's like finding friends. You just gotta talk to a ton of people, network, get out there, show your projects online, start a YouTube channel and show off your projects if that's what it takes, right? But get that one person, because it only takes one. That's how I did it multiple times, right? But when I jumped, but it really takes someone saying, I'm willing to give you a chance because I like you, or I'm willing to give you a chance because you're passionate. Go dominate MongoDB University, dominate Redis University, and then start showing off projects, start building stuff, start doing things. Reach out to those companies, reach out to companies that they are working with. Just reach out to everybody. Even if you go for a tech support role, something lower level, you can be like, look, I know all about databases and how databases work. I know about, Redis is different than Mongo, right? And Mongo has all these things they're trying to do. You're really going to impress people. And in the process, you will learn about networking. You will learn about systems administration. You will learn about other parts of the technology industry just by accident, just by going through some of the projects they're going to have you go through. 7 years ago when I first learned about all this, I mean, they were using Vagrant and they were doing all these, hip new technologies and things like that. Mongo's always on the kind of bleeding edge of things, right? Like, I looked at their website right before making this video, and I saw that they were talking about build AI agents with MongoDB. So you're going to have a whole course on building AI agents, which you could then turn around and sell for a side income, a little side gig, right? So a very non-traditional approach to breaking into the technology sector and potentially starting a business, right? You can build these things on. You might have a brilliant idea that no one's ever thought of with Mongo or Redis or something like that you can build a business on top of. But I think that this is definitely advice I've never heard, advice I've never been given. And a lot of people are like, oh yeah, just go to Code Academy or something like that and just start learning a language. Well, learning how to do a bubble sort algorithm when you're not an MIT graduate is kind of silly. They're going to hire an MIT graduate to do their algorithms, right? You come in and you do what we call the mechanics, what I am, and we're kind of the mechanics of the IT industry. We are infrastructure engineers. We build and maintain, and we do so in repeatable, dry, boring ways, but that's the way it is. And there's money, there's big money. You will be getting paid more as an infrastructure engineer than guys coming out of MIT for a long time, and you can outpace them. And that's no joke. I've had college graduates make half what I make, and developer roles and senior developer roles and things like that. So it's a great way to move into the industry, and you're still a developer, and you're still going to have creative outlets. Like I said, your side gigs, opportunities you get asked to join, etc. So I would look into Mongo University, Redis University, master those. You're going to learn so much. You're going to just be so ahead of the game, and there are jobs out there for those skills. I hope this helps.